Hi, my name is Jennifer Main, and today we're going to discuss productivity software and how you can use it in the classroom, specifically with an example that I did. So first, let's go over the standards that would be assessed for the students with this project. Students will curate information from digital resources using a variety of tools and methods to create collections of artifacts that demonstrate meaningful connections of conclusions. Students will collect data or identify relevant data sets, use digital tools to analyze them, and represent the data in various ways to facilitate problem solving and decision making. Students can choose the appropriate platforms and tools for meeting the desired objectives of their creation or communication. Students can create original works or responsibly repurpose or remix digital resources into new creations. Students can publish or present their content that customizes the message and medium for their intended audiences. Students contribute constructively to project teams, assuming various roles and responsibilities to work effectively towards a common goal. So, for this presentation, I didn't really dig deep into creating this presentation because I really wanted to discuss what I did for my students with this and how they have fun with it. So, what we did was before we even brought up the database with them, I taught them what an ecosystem is, specifically what the niche and the habitat is, and then what a salmonid is. So, most people think of salmon as something that they eat, correct? But they're more than that. They're a species that are actually being threatened by humans because of our consumption and because salmon cannot come back home as easily as they used to. So, salmonids are actually a species that will migrate from freshwater to marine water and then come back to have their young. But salmon are not as easily able to come back due to habitat fragmentation and destruction. So the students have already learned all of this information. And then I wanted to put them to work, actually seeing real data. To do this, I used the NOAA Fisheries Database. So, in a group of 3, the students were to go to the NOAA Fisheries Database and read through the project, exploring the movement of juvenile salmonids in small streams, to really understand the background of this research study that is real. Then they were able to, as a group, collaborate with using Google Sheets, Google Docs for the entirety of their project. So once the students were reading through the database of the introduction for what this project really was, they were to actually download the Excel file or from the database. They were to use the year that I gave them because this is a long-term study that's being conducted. And I gave them a specific year, and I wanted them to calculate the averages and ranges of the fish weight and length of the year of data I provided. Then they were to make tables and graphs to compare average number of fishes captured in different habitats. Then I wanted them to really take a step deeper because these are seniors. I wanted them to compare the average weight and length of fishes captured in each habitat and illustrate this in a graph as well. Then, once they finished, that wasn't it. I wanted them to then go further and create a presentation over the information. So, background information that we've already discussed in class, and then bring in all of this data that they've analyzed and use that data to explain why this restoration of streams is important. Then they were to present this in front of everyone and really grasp what it's like to be a scientist and understand the background information of their research. Work through the data. Of course, they didn't gather the data, but they got to work through the data and then present it just like a scientist would. And this is great for students overall, even if they're not trying to be a scientist one day. Utilizing the database and the data set allowed them to step in to the role of a scientist's shoes, at least for a day or over 3 days. And have fun with it as well, because we were all there and they were collaborating as a group. If you would like to go to my webpage on the spreadsheet and database assignment, you will actually find the objectives, the standards, the different learning activities, and different resources for students as well. I even attached a rubric for you that I would use to grade their presentation. But I gave them different resources for them to read and gain more knowledge regarding these juvenile salmonids, and tips on graphing in Excel and graphing in Google Sheets, because we all know graphing is a little different when you look at Excel and Google Sheets. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering any questions that you may have. I believe that this is great to integrate into your classroom in some form or fashion, because students can have a lot of fun with it, and they're learning in a different way than they're used to learning. My contact information is jrmain@uark.edu, and I would love to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you and have a great night.